I was about to say CT side, God, for the Amber side. But for Skumbriya, do you just want to say PS, or are we doing the whole name? Are we going full government name out here? Pojilaya Skumbriya.
You know, honestly, for the sake of having it not very easily roll off the tongue, let's just go with PS here. In these high moments, obviously, when we talk about them in between, I think that we can use their full government name. But when we're getting into the down and dirty, if we're gonna call one DMS, we might as well call the other one PS. You know, it just makes sense.
Yeah.
We're not doing the full government name for DMS, this organization. So very exciting to see how they're actually going to be doing the picks and the bans. But let me ask you this, Edgero, with what we got, a ban on Pocket, how do you feel like that fares for this team?
Well, this is interesting, right? Because what does the Pocket ban usually entail? As of the last best of 3, usually entailed that they're not going to be playing for anything too late game, right? They want to... No, they actually are going to be playing for a bit of late game, right? So they don't want that bleed, they don't want that poke to be coming on through. So we're most likely going to get to see a Paradox. We're most likely going to see a fast pick coming through out here from Skumbriya to try to have a good early game. And DMS's pick is really smart as well if they don't have a player that likes to enjoy Viscous, right? So there's the Wraith being immediately locked on in here from Skumbriya. What's kind of the deal out here with the Wraith, as we're going to get to see the first pick out here from DMS as well, being Mo and Krill, actually.
Yeah. Honestly, I'm pretty excited to see the Mo and Krill being picked up here by DMS, as this is one of their main counter picks to Skumbriya. In the grand finals of our last match with these two teams against each other, you did see DMS actually rock the the counter against it, and Skumbriya loved the Mo and Krill, so having DMS actually pick it up is a counter play. They're taking away one of the main characters for this team, so I think that alone is something that really does matter.
Incorrect on overlay, actually. It's not the counter pick, it's the comfort pick coming on through, so Skumbriya gets it. There you go.
Right.
There you go. See, so
shout out to our production, Kashi. Shout out to him. But no, honestly, okay, so if it is not a counter pick, it's a comfort pick, and it's not even Mo and Krill. It's Yamato.
Oh,
unless I'm crazy. It wasn't a locked pick. It was hovered.
It wasn't locked. Okay, it was hovered.
It will be picked later. They're going to pick.
Probably.
They're going to pick it later. They're hovering it because they're wondering if they insta-lock it or not. But I don't think that they need to insta-lock Mo and Krill. They need to focus on their damage, and that's where the Abrams is going to be coming in, hopefully.
Hopefully it should, right? You've got the Abrams now having a bit of a pseudo tank line, a pseudo front line, and the Mirage being picked up here for DMS. That's a lot of damage already, right? You've got your play. Oh my goodness, Paradox too. This is one DPS heavy comp coming through from DMS. Yeah,
that is a lot of damage here. So I'm a little bit concerned. You look over, you do have a little bit more damage coming in with the Yamato Abrams. Abrams a very tanky pick. I'm thinking that they're going to be just all right, but I'm also thinking... Great Talon. Okay,
great
DMS, what are you guys doing?
They're going full DPS.
They're going...
Full DPS.
Full DPS. We're going to probably see a Mo and Krill. That's going to be on the table. You have the damage from Yamato, and Yamato against Grey Talon is not a matchup. You get jumped on Grey Talon, Yamato just absolutely slices and dices you, so... I don't know. I feel like we're looking at
yeah, they're going all DPS. No. They're gonna be locking in, I don't know, Vindicta at this point. Something is going to happen.
I can't do this, Adrian. It's not proper Deadlock, and it sucks to say it because proper Deadlock, this is a beta game, but there are rules, there are laws, there are reasons why we don't do what we're doing right now.
We're about to see them. This is going to be one hell of an entertaining game, if nothing less. I mean, it's either going to be a wash coming through out here and Skumbriya are going to have an easy game, or this is going to be one DPS heavy game coming through from DMS. I'm really excited to see what's going to be picked later. Okay, let's see it. So Skumbriya right now trying to think of as well of what to pick up here. And you know what is an interesting thing here is the fact that, yeah, McGinnis is going to get picked up. DMS are stealing away all the DPS options. So what are Skumbriya going to be left with without besides the Abrams and the Yamato? right?
Well, Lady Geist can do damage. They already have their damage. They don't really need much more. And especially, they don't need a lot of damage if the enemy team is squishy as hell. So it's like, you're fine. You're set up here. So I don't know. This is a questionable decision by DMS. I would think that if they're going to want to try to turn this around, you maybe just pick the Kelvin. You go Kelvin here to maybe have
yeah.
Yes. Oh, my predictions.
Your 3-on-3 on predictions today.
Oh my god. All
Beautiful,
right,
man.
dude, that's insane. Okay, yeah, they needed the Kelvin because they needed the CC. They needed, yeah, all right. So now with Kelvin, they have a team fight that could pay off. But Skumbriya, what's the answer to Kelvin and a grouped up DPS heavy team? Dynamo, that could be an option. You could also run over with a
Lash.
a decent. Yeah, we could do a Lash as well. Lash would be heavy damage as well as just great CC, but you might be thinking supports, maybe an Ivy here to really top these players off with the with these guys. I mean, I would think an Ivy wouldn't be too bad, especially with the CC slam down, the ability to steal things. But overall, I'm going to be very excited to see how this game goes. Regardless, Skumbriya's pick versus DMS's pick, because DMS is like, okay, all the damage, and they go for more damage. They go for a 7, which honestly, 7's not that bad when you're facing off against an incredibly squishy team.
Yeah, exactly. Oh yeah. I'm already looking forward to it. You know, it's it was back before in the very calculated and well thought out game of the past that we got to see in the first one. Now I just want to have some fun. Now I just want to see where this goes. So starting things off, it is going to be. Let's take a look at the lanes already. My goodness, the aggression already coming out of Abrams. Leaves himself down to half HP, but, you know, still something to work with out here. And they do go back a little bit of poke. Now, do you think out here for DMS they'll have better poke as well, or are they going to get surprised by the pseudo tanks?
The thing about being poked is you have to be able to withstand the poking, and that's where their team falls short. And Abrams is really good at poking because not only does he have damage for it, but he has survivability to receive the poke in return. So I would argue that, yeah, they have a lot of poke damage and none of the poke survivability. So to me, the answer goes to Skumbriya.
Okay. Well, we'll see it out in play further on, but until we do indeed get there, it is going to be a bit of a slower start than we anticipated. Again, I thought there would be some sort of gimmicky play coming out of DMS, you know, early gank or just a 3-man lane or something crazy like that. But instead, that doesn't seem to be the case. So we're just going to be running on through the mill right here, thinking who's actually going to be able to take the cake out here, as that's going to be the first kill already made, and not by who you expected. It looks like great Talon able to trade back, but it is going to be Zania on the Abrams finding the man advantage and the pick.
Well, just a smart play, great style for this team, and honestly, exactly what I would have anticipated from them with that poke versus non-poke, with the damage output, with the Abrams being able to really clean things up here. So, yeah, I'm in love with the playstyle that we're watching this team put up with, but it's now time for them to keep it up. They've gotten 2 kills for the price of 1. They got the first blood, so as long as Skumbriya just keeps this momentum, as long as they keep farming efficiently and keeping the slight lead that they've already developed, this could be a very fast game. And you look at a fast game, Jesus, that Paradox got low quick.
Yeah, that's going to be the damage early on here, as everybody's squishy. Everybody's not going to have the easiest of times, you know, actually trying to figure out where they should be staying on the lane, what they should be doing first, and who is actually going to become a target. Because, again, you take a look on down to the green lane out here, to the orchard lane as it was renamed, and you see that the Abrams is really pushing on. It's really dealing the damage out here, and that's exactly what you need to keep these guys back, to keep them squishy, keep them low, and to be able to farm up as much as you can. Now, onto this side, there's going to be another engagement coming on through. However, the book doesn't land correctly. The charge was there, and now he just goes back. So we're going to get to see a lot of that out here, Edu, throughout the entirety of this best of 3.
I'm also going to shout out the changes being made in this game. Naming the green lane Orchard Lane as a colorblind guy, we appreciate you, all right? Having those changes are very, very good quality of life. But now the quality of these teams' lives is going a little bit down right now, as you see a big round every single time. They're doing all right. I'm thinking Skumbriya starting off strong, Grey Talon probably about to be another dead player here. Boom with Kobe from Hardeki. Easy round onto the Grey Talon. And, you know, we questioned the Grey Talon pick, and now we're questioning the Grey Talon plays.
Yeah, well, I mean, we're not necessarily questioning the Grey Talon plays as much as we're saying good job to Lady Geist there for being able to snipe that away. I got immediately transported back to, you know, good old CS with those frags. So, looking nice, looking good, but starting things off, we're also going to have to keep a very close eye on over to this Yamato. Last time around, the first best of 3, if you guys were keeping watch, it was not the easiest of times for the Yamato to get activated. So, especially now that they're playing on the patch with the nerfs, it's going to be interesting to see how much the pick is actually going to matter out here into this map.
Well, so far we've seen one esports level match immediately following the patch, and it was Yamato still being able to be good enough to win. The problem is the patch made people think, oh, we don't have to ban Yamato anymore. You still have to ban Yamato. She's still that good. So the ninjas definitely, you know, bringing those kunais to the fight, bringing the knives to a gunfight and making it work. But McGinnis already catching this Infernus.
Beautiful movement coming through from the McGinnis. However, gets caught in the corner. Saf was way too late to help out. Imagine he was there. By this point, Kelvin would have already been down to 1 HP. There could have been a kill made, and now he's actually going to be, you know, just staying there. And I didn't mean Saf, I meant the Warden actually trying to help out, you know. But yeah, McGinnis had a nice idea on the engage. However, there was that triple man lane coming through out here for the Amber Hand. Now, let's talk advantages out here onto the lanes, right? We're already getting to see Mirage kind of standing up to the 7, which is great early game out here for DMS. And for the Orchard lane, there is that advantage out here for the Kelvin. For this blue lane, though, it looks like Grey Talon is going to have quite a tough time trying to balance out the farming department with that Warden.
Yeah, and hopefully they can balance this game out. I will also shout out the Mirage here. Last game, Mirage was the MVP. You looked back at Lex 1, who absolutely popped off. So there's a chance that they can bring the comeback with this character just because of how busted they are. But I don't know if we have a repeat. I don't know if we have another Lex 1 here with Psycho. But let's hope that we can find something, as this is going to be already more and more of a gap between these two teams in the KD department.
It is going to be. Now, more importantly than not, especially out here for the early game, is not necessarily the KD, but it is how much you stay alive and how the soul bonus kind of goes here, right? What's going to be the first objective that we're going to be taking Locon forward to? Well, it's probably going to be that urn, because mid is definitely not going to be contested. So setting yourselves up here for the urn, for the fights, while on the other side, it looks like Paradox is off to have a field trip. Saf, mentioned him briefly before, but now finds a very important pick. He's been the ganker. He's been the one to look forward to when we need a little bit of movement out here on the map. So definitely keep an eye on him.
And I definitely am. I think that Saf is going to bring a lot to the table here. Skumbriya, I'm hoping, is going to keep up their lead, but the problem is now you're in the early game against the high DPS characters who have figured it out. This is a big moment here, as it is a very low. No, it is a dead Hardeki. It is a dead to a Grey Talon, and it looks like Abrams going to be joining in that, going way out of bounds there, going all the way into the side lane there, and just getting kind of bullied. But that's 2 picks down, and DMS with the DPS comp is managing to actively win out the soul count. They're winning by 2,000 souls.
Yes, they are. And interestingly enough, the Grey Talon actually is doing quite well. He's 3-2. Sure, he's died twice, but right now he is having quite an important role here. Let's say that Play With Me definitely made a lot of that fight, but because Prestis was there, now they managed to find themselves on a good run. And also the reason why I was like, okay, this is a little bit of troll coming through from DMS, is you get to see the comp, right? But also, Prestis has not played Grey Talon before in a ranked game, at the least not in the past 10 games. He's a Vindicta main. And now coming through into this one, it is going to be the Binding Ward running down on for Saf. Can he get away with the Divine Barrier? Yes, he does have a little bit of extra HP, but he's going to get run over. So that's going to be Litz finding him onto the first. Looking in for more. They can't really find any more. Kelvin is out of there already. And Skumbriya, well, they're bringing it back.
Yeah, they brought it back, and now they're in the lead. It is a very neck-and-neck early game here, but as we are approaching the 9-minute mark, the early game's going to end as we see the Amber Guardian fall. This is the moment here for Together to really set up his team successfully, and that's what the Yamato is doing. But the gank is coming in. The Infernus is online, but is it the Infernus versus Yamato? It's the gank from the pocket that really seals the deal. That could have been a 1v1 lost by Wolfie, but it's the team play, the synergy that made it work.
Yeah, and as called out here, but
they're the main DPS for this team, and DMS is recognizing, okay, we need to target the Yamato. I'm also going to shout out Hardeki here on the Lady Geist is another character they have to worry about, especially since that early game. But shout outs to the recovery from this team. They're able to really bounce back with some damage, and case in point, they're doing it again. Paradox ultimate right onto Litz, and oh, this is too much DPS, too much damage. The beam is too good, and that is going to be another Guardian down. And what a play. DMS coming out swinging here.
And that's the idea, right? Overwhelm them with the damage, try to lane up on at least 2 or 3, have those man advantages, and because you have such a DPS heavy comp, you also have a lot of objective damage, right? So one mistake, one team fight they lost, boom, that's a walker, boom, that's a guardian. You know, you can't really afford, if you're Skumbriya, to take a lot of these team fights without being ready to be losing out half of your lane for it, right? So this is when it's starting. This is when we get to see what the bread and butter of this strat for DMS is. However, then you take a look on down to objectives and you say, okay, but objectives means forcing out team fights. And this Solern is going to be one of those team fights where we're going to get to see Skumbriya attempt the push, and they're going to be having the hold onto the receiving end of the altar. So if this is going to be our first big team fight, I want to see it work out in, you know, an actual coordinated fashion rather than just taking down these 2v2s, 1v1s.
Oh, absolutely. And now with these little coordinated fashions as you're talking about, I'm going to ask you, who do you think, even though DMS is all DPS, who do you think we need to focus on? You know, I'm going to toss the question back to you. Is it those two who just got 2 kills? Holy!
Maybe it's probably them, right? Because I'm also going to say Kelvin, right? He's got the most movement right now, and he's the one that's not the DPS. So he's going to be very, very important towards the battle here. Sunset, where does his HP go? Hello, there you go. And speaking of Kelvin, anybody who's playing the Kelvin usually picks up the Orn, right? So that's going to be Hardeki. Managing to find Priestess on the other side of the map. Zanya being caught off guard a little bit. Sunset, there you go, he finally fell. And Zanya, I think he's going to fall down here as well. The Book sure wants to run away here, but it is going to be Abrams now being stuck inside of the shop. Can't do too much. And that's the Mirage on another kill streak. I'm starting to get a little bit of deja vu out here, Edu, with the Mirage.
I have seen DPS like this work before in NA. If I could shout out NA Deadlock right now, you see a lot of teams over there that are actually running the I punch harder, I shoot faster meta, and it just works sometimes. It really, you have to be confident in your team's ability to start this early lead, and clearly DMS is. And honestly, this Kelvin pick is the glue, the ice that's freezing everything together here. It's doing a great job at not only securing the side objectives, but also with the ganks that they needed to do. Kelvin, just the perfect pick for this team comp.
Savior pick actually coming through, and it was the last one as well, right? It was a little bit of a, what are we gonna do? What are we gonna do? That's what we're gonna do, right? So very, very smart out here for DMS. And I think with the Kelvin, this is perhaps the only way this comp would ever work. And right now, it kind of is. 71k on the souls, over 60k. Oof. And look at the sniper damage coming through. We were having a bit of a talk. Let's see the owl though try to find its mark, and it will not be getting the kill, but it got damn close to it. We were having a bit of a talk in the pre-show before we actually got to go live about snipers and how they're most likely not going to get picked out here. But in a team comp like this, we're getting to see the advantage of having that longer range actually come out to play. And speaking of the Kelvin, it looks like TAS wants to have a little bit of a timeout. The last stand being used on up. The health potion is there, but look at the damage he's taking. Still, he's regenning, but it doesn't matter. Wolfie's gonna take him down and more with him. A 2-for-1 special, looking for the Walker too. This is just all going in favor of DMS.
Yeah, DMS, they definitely learned from the grand finals there, and I gotta hand it to them. They showcased that this very obscure composition apparently can cook a bit. So let's keep watching. Let's keep getting our eyes on this team, as I'm thinking DMS wants to have their vengeance against this team. $4,000 difference there. They definitely felt that in the rent money. So seeing them now trying to battle it out with a obscure strat, and it's working, but how long will it work for? I'm worried about them in the late game, especially with no CC enough outside of the Kelvin. They're relying heavily on this Kelvin, and it may pay off.
It may do. Hardeki still looking for an off kill though. Can find Mirage, but Mirage is already out of there. So that's the power of a well-built Mirage. She can just really be all over the map. And DMS, well, it just seems, look at this movement tech coming through from Saf as well, right? Playing the Paradox, of course, you have to know these. And this is verticality, something that we barely got to talk about, right, in the previous best of 3, but something that was definitely very important was the scouting prowess, the powerful ability to, you know, just go on over out here onto the high ground and be able to set up these gangs, set up these plays overall for your team is very, very important. And with the mobility that everybody out here on DMS basically has, it's going to be really exciting to see what they're going to be setting up and how they're going to be playing this, because look, they're basically running a 4-2 setup, right? 4 people kind of playing together out here with the Wraith, getting ready for any oncoming actual team fights that perhaps Skumbriya might want to settle on down. And on the other side of the map, you just have the lane splitters, right? You have yourselves the great Talon doing his own thing with the sniper. You have the Infernus being always able to run away fast if needed. And speaking of running away fast, it's exactly what he's gonna do as one team fight starts on one side of the map and the other on the other side indeed. Look on down to both the minimap and what Prestige sees right now, as he's seeing 2 of the 6 enemies, and it looks like Saf really just wants to take down this Walker.
Yeah, they don't just want to do it, they will do it. Taking out that Walker, opening up the door for a chance here. Litz, I have to shout out this McGinnis. The walls have just not really hit as hard as I was expecting when you lock in a character like this. You need to be able to just pretty much May Overwatch moment. You got to catch them off guard. You got to catch them out with their pants down. Talking about catching someone out.
Yeah. There you go. Beautiful 2v1 coming out there. And it's again the Abrams taking people by surprise, right? It started at the very first minute of the game with him already charging on in. He's doing the same thing and he's doing it very, very well. So Zanya definitely saving the day out here for Skumbriya just a little bit, but you can't really save the day too much when both of your walkers on your outside lanes are falling bit by bit. And speaking of objectives falling, that's going to be also a Guardian finally taken down out here onto the blue lane.
Yeah, I mean, so far so good. Losing out onto the Mirage. Pretty good picks here. Again, this game's relatively close. It's just the KDs that's been such a gap, and there's at least a pick for together. Talk about the KDs. Can we get them out? Can we see this player get out of that area? It's just going to be together, which I think does succeed in just getting the pick and not having to worry about it anymore. You do have a friendly Guardian going down, but the fight will continue here. And he gets sniped through the doorway.
That's a new one. That's a reason to use the Great Talon, I think. But look at Sunset. He's had insane plays before. Onto the 7. He's going to try it again, but can't really move because guess what? There's a Kelvin there, and there's also a Mirage dealing most of the damage. Hardeki out of the fight too. The kill streaks keep on coming, as it looks like DMS are just finding their way around this game. Over 22k on the solo advantage out here. 24k on the solo advantage here, Edu. This is huge, especially for a mid play.
Yeah, big game, and the mid boss being taken. There's not a whole lot of people nearby to even
Yamato?
steal it. They're gonna just give it up. They're giving up that mid boss. They know that they can't really, fight for it. And honestly, DMS, I gotta hand it to them. I keep praising their playstyle because they just killed together. There's no way that this Yamato can stay alive, can they? Oh,
I mean, he's going to be doing the shadow transformation, but he's not going to stay alive for long, as he's going to be trying to deal as much damage as he can before it goes away. And yeah, that was a bit of a desperate ultimate coming through out there from Together. But I don't even think I needed one right now. He's still going to have the cooldown. He's going to be off cooldown by the time he gets back into the fight. But Speaking of fights, here's the kinetic dash, here's the ultimate, and here it is. Abrams actually going down away for it. The charge doesn't get them through, and missed timings there from Liv onto the McGinnis. Doesn't get the wall up in time to actually find the charge up, so it is going to be the last stand trying to deal most of the damage. They're trying to get on site. It is going to be a full-on 4v4, even the 5v5 actually going to the 6v6. Kelvin's down to low HP, trying to get away, but it's still Prestis dealing the damage on the great Talon out of all of them. Sap also helping out, finding the second kill, and that is going to be the shutdown and basically the game out here, Edu, as it is going to be DMS not only rejuvenating down in middle, but also winning out the complete 6v6 in a team fight scenario.
I mean, you might have heard me go, why are they going in at the start of that? They just lost together and they decide, I'm going to initiate on a team with Rejuvenator. That was such a big misplay by the Abrams that it's going to cost them map number 1. They're going to have a hard mental reset here as the walkers are falling, the shrines are falling, the game is being lost right now. Everything's getting blitzed here. It's just, why would you fight when you have your biggest DPS dead?
Yeah, and your biggest DPS off cooldown as well, right? So there was not really like there was much to do in that scenario. Now, I get it because for the Abrams, what he saw was a 3v6. He knew who he had behind him, and he didn't really have information on the other players out here for DMS. So he was hoping to be able to catch off a really good execute, a really good entrance, and just to let his team deal the rest of the job. But it wasn't that easy, and a complete workaround here from DMS. They all stood in middle, and they played together, and they won absolutely the fight that's going to get them this win, if anything is going to get them this win.
Yeah, just so dang clean. I gotta hand it to him. DMS, we were definitely going when we saw their picks, but it was worth it. It was so worth seeing this kind of gameplay. And honestly, Wolfie, I've looked at this player before, seeing what they're able to pop off with. I think I've actually played against them when I'm playing over on EU servers. Wolfie's just kind of crazy, but knowing that these guys are still cooking. Saf, someone that I shouted out at the start here on that paradox. I mean, one, it's a paradox, but I didn't think the DPS strategy was going to work, especially when they had previously gotten 2-0'd by the same team here. But you take all the damage, who's left? It's the Yamato who gets picked off early.
Yeah, really tough out here for Skumbriya, and I wasn't expecting it, you know. But this is also why not only we went when we got to see their draft, but also I feel like there's the Aaron walking around. That's 6k in souls too. Beautiful.
Wow. So smart.
Nice observing work here. We've got to shout out production. But yeah, I was saying, you know, we weren't the only ones surprised. I think definitely 100% Skumbriya as well. We're looking at the comp that DMS were drafting, and they were like, what's going on here? What are they trying? And they didn't really know what to pick. That's where the McGinnis pick comes in from. That's where the 7 pick comes from. That's also where a little bit of the Lady Geist pick comes from, right? So Skumbriya definitely taken by surprise, and it worked out wonders out here for DMS.
Ooh, good catch.
Big engage.
They do, again, it's the Abrams engaging right before a fight, and will the Abrams be punished for that? Looks like the fight is going to break out fully, and this could be it. There's not a lot of ultimates to be used, but they have to go for it. Litz is going to be the first to fall. Bye-bye to the McGinnis, and here comes the wonderful Warden. The Warden unfortunately just gets blitzed out of the game. The Abrams completely ignored. The tank's not able to do damage. Again, the Abrams starts a fight he can't finish, and you talk about finishing a fight, the Patron is what's left. The Urn's returned. It's time to fight. It's time to just end this game outright.
Not necessarily, you know, still together in the back line, trying to be considerably important out here to the team. And he's already found himself off to a double, perhaps even a triple if he gets lucky. But right now, he's just chasing after dead ghosts. So it is going to be him falling off to the side here. Only 7 to really deny on the patron kill. And that is going to be the patron falling. But the game not over still. There will be McGinnis coming back into the game. And also, I think, Abrams and the Warden just in time to deny that ending game. But again, in that team fight, it was the Abrams again taking a fight maybe he shouldn't have, and that kind of lost his team the game. But that was also the Wraith using up every single ability so damn importantly. Play with me. In the middle of that fight, at the beginning of that fight actually, he used up the telekinesis on the one person that could have made the difference, onto Taz, the one we're seeing right now. He had last stand available, right? He had the third ability as well. He had everything ready and off of cooldown to just try to get in there. By the time he got knocked away, from the actual ultimate from Wraith, the whole fight was over, right? He couldn't really help out at all. So that was also a big CC play coming through here for DMS.
Yeah, just big plays. And honestly, you know, I'm glad that we saw them back up a little bit for the sake of Skumbriya, as they didn't have any ultimates here. So if they actually continued the push, even down players, they had enough ultis that they could have just taken it back and just spawn killed them there. So a good read by Skumbriya to take their time, pace themselves out pretty well. But DMS, they're going to just reset, regroup, keep getting the farm up because they are up, what, 40,000 right now? So up 40,000 souls. It's just pure control over this game.
Yeah, exactly. The early game went their way, the mid game went their way, and I don't even know if we're gonna get to a real end game out here for this first map. And it's crazy to think, right, that these teams fought each other only a month ago, and there's already this big of a difference. This is what happens, especially into a beta game, right? The picks themselves, the things that the players choose, not only how the players play, definitely make the world of an impact. And right now we can get to see that completely in this very, very interesting comp that DMS drafted, and that is working just wonderfully here for them.
Yeah, let's see it. I mean, it's working wonderfully. It's playing beautifully. I'm also hoping that we're going to be seeing, again, this McGinnis. I need to see them really start to turn around. Litz here has had some pretty questionable walls. So when I'm looking at this player, you are the CC in the middle of the fight. You are the controller of space. So I need to see what you can do to actually just keep it together. And overall, I'm also looking at DMS. Look at the positioning on the minimap. They're going to try to go for the mid-boss here. And if they could take that mid-boss, again, that Rejuvenator will set them over the edge, and they just win the game.
Yes and no at the same time. They could be baiting this out. It looks like that's exactly what they're doing. They're waiting on Skumbriya to actually push on up, and when they find that first blood, they're going for the full team fight because they'll know that they can't win that. They don't want to actually fight against Sunset on the ultimate available as well. They just want to make sure that they can take these fights and take these guys down one by one. So the first man up is going to be the Abrams yet again. It's going to be the Kelvin looking on down to try to CC as much as he can. And where did Zanya go? Why does he go in by himself there? It's again the McGinnis while not doing too much there into the middle of the fight. The invincibility already taken on down here from the Yamato. Task good for the Paradox, however, at least managed to find one. Great Talon being overwhelmed and overrun here as well. It's good timing, it's good spacing out here from Skumbriya, but it's not enough to deal with play with me right now. That Wraith is dealing the damage, and Yamato's down to low. He doesn't have the ultimate either anymore, and Psycho is gonna end it off 1-1 on the second. Seven's out of the fight, surely. As he's kind of stuck in the corner there, looking in for more. The Infernus trying to help on out, and it is going to be the ultimate being sent on down. Wolfie managed to find one in the second though, and that's it. It's the end. It's over, done, and out here, Edu, as that is the last kill to be found, and that will be DMS ending off the game on a first victory.
I mean, Skumbriya, just misplay after misplay after misplay here. We saw the Abrams go in, die alone. Then you have your team pushing in. And then the cherry on top at the very end of the fight. It's the wall by the McGinnis sealing off the Geist all alone and making it so you, or actually making it so you, as the McGinnis, are all alone against three and your teammates just on the other side of the wall and you can't do anything. This is why the game ends. It's misplays like that. It's why DMS is going to be taking it back in this rematch of the century with them around the map. It's why they had the most amount of healing as well for being the support, but they were the supporting role that also managed to get 4 kills. But read that right. What's underneath that 4 kills? 0 death Kelvin. They weren't able to shut this guy down, and he was pocketing this team beautifully.
That's zero assists.
It's going to be very interesting to see where this team goes, but because it is going to be most of the picks going over to Skumbriya first, that means that they do have the opportunity to lock on in their damage dealers before DMS has the chance to steal them. So seeing the Wraith get banned, seeing the Pocket get banned makes sense. Still Yamato's on the table. Still we have Viscous now on the table, as Viscous has been banned from every single match here outside of our very first one. So I'm pretty excited to see, but a Paradox insta lock, so they definitely were desperate for that damage.
Yeah, they were, and the Wraith ban is also very interesting coming through from Skumbriya, right? I was expecting that to maybe come through from DMS, but the pocket ban makes way more sense, because if you're gonna go all squishy, you don't want a pocket to just basically ult in the back line, and that's the fight. But Yamato insta pick coming on throughout here from DMS, okay, that kind of makes a sense as well with the Viscous now out here for DMS once more. So they're going for all the picks, all the right picks that they know are gonna get on the back hairs of Skumbriya, but we might be seeing a reverse on the tables out here. That's a Mirage with an Abrams with a Paradox. Okay.
Yeah, I'll say it. Abrams Paradox Mirage has been the winning team composition for every team I have commentated in the past few weeks. This is the best 3 characters that you can lock in. I will say the Abrams we saw last time for Skumbriya had a little bit much to be desired. DMS though rocking the Warden and the Yamato and the Viscous means that there is going to be a lot of team fight survivability on them that will be a big problem. Now with the pickup from DMS on the Grey Talon again, I was thinking and I said this in the pre-show or in the green room with you. I'm only going to see a Grey Talon if one of these players is a Grey Talon main and incredibly comfortable on this pick. You do not pick this character any other reason. It's not meta. It's not good for team fights. It's just if you're good at Grey Talon, you pick Grey Talon. It's kind of like if you have a Sombra one trick in Overwatch.
Yeah,
you know, it's the same idea. But here, I liked it because it can finish off the low players, which a lot of these guys tend to run away really low. And you send an owl drone after them, you're gonna be fine. So I'm pretty hyped about this. And oh, there's the Kelvin taken away from DMS. That's a big pick. That's a counter pick.
That's huge. That is absolutely huge. The fact that you got Lady Geist, Abrams, and Kelvin on the same team, this is going to mean a lot of starting up the fight's potential. The Ivy, I feel like, is a great choice to have there for that Kelvin and also for the Grey Talon. They match up well together alongside the Yamato too. That's going to be a lot of survivability, not only down in the pit for mid, but also in the team fights, right? So it's going to be interesting to see how we're going to get there. But this is looking like a way more serious style of comp that they're both drafting, and both of these teams are going to be going in for that late game, right? That's exactly how it feels right now, that DMS are planning on having this slow and steady approach to the game while trying to focus up on objectives, while Skumbriya have the same thing in mind. However, but instead of objectives, it's going to be the walkers and the guardians to try to take down as soon as possible. So that makes me think there will be a 7 pickup out here for Skumbriya, or a yeah, there you go. That's the 7 pickup. Thank you.
It's going to be the 7, yeah. I will say DMS, though, they needed more damage. They do pick up the Infernus, the Ivy, Viscous. These guys early game are not going to be easy to kill. There's a lot of healing. That's a lot of survivability in the laning phase. So if you are the Paradox, yeah, it could go any way here with the way that they're going to spread it out. But now it's time to actually focus up on the last hit potential. It's time for them to really just lock this in. I'm hoping that we're going to see some good gameplay here from the Ivy, especially considering the win percentage that they pull out on the Kelvin. This is an undefeated player, so technically they haven't died in this set yet. So I can't wait to see what they're going to be able to pull out. Already, we do have lanes getting pushed out, the time's getting slowed down, and hopefully we can see another early first blood like the last set.
Hopefully we can. However, I think we're going to have to wait a little bit more than we did in the last set, because that last one was so quick, we really didn't expect it, right? So now coming in through this one, it is going to be just a couple of pokes away here. The Abrams, yeah, taking the brunt of the fight out here, taking a lot of the damage. The Viscous as well, going to be doing the same. These characters that don't necessarily have the best long-range capabilities, they're going to be feeling the brunt of this early poke. But until we get actually something concrete, we're gonna get to see Grey Talon down on 1 HP. What happened there? Hello?
What happened there was just a lot of damage. And that's the thing. Poke is gonna poke. You're gonna get your eye out, kid. But look at this. Wait, what? Abrams, where are you going? Another time going a little bit too deep takes a lot more HP or damage taken than necessary. Luckily, they do have the Geist to fall back onto. But again, We're seeing this Abrams very much aggro in this round. Now, I will hand it to this team of DMS. They're getting extra low. I think we might be seeing a Yamato taken out here if we're not too careful.
Around about minute 3 or 4 is when we get to see the first 2 ultimates start up online, right? So until then, I think Yamato is going to be fine. But I don't know, with the playstyle that DMS have had up until now, they seem to be a very aggressive team. They seem to be a team that really don't shy away from a good fight. But it looks like that's the case out here for Skumbriya as well, because what was that? TAS and Litz come in together in a beautiful joint effort there to take down the first one. And that's already a kill on the board.
Yeah, already a kill on the board, just so clean. Honestly, this team knows what they're doing. They're getting a decent amount of setup here. I'm also going to be looking at, the Abrams actually running in and punching and succeeding in doing the damage. Pretty dang clean. Overall, this is a good back and forth between these two teams. Not too many deaths, not too many, loss of CS. I think it's looking all right for either side. It could go either way right now.
Could go. Sunset not looking the healthiest either, but I doubt he's going to get ganked. Right now, at this point in the game, everyone is looking on their lanes and trying to figure out something to work with. However, I see Litz out here, and I'm thinking you could go for a gank. Realistically, that great Talon could go down in a heartbeat if we got to see the Kelvin right now trying to lurk back around somewhere. But instead of seeing that, it's just going to be a pretty straightforward approach until we get to see another one of those engages like we got to see out of Taz before. So this game, unlike the first map out here, Radu, much slower, much more pacey than the previous. And
you were saying just
kills.
wait. Look at DMS. They're all incredibly low, but they're still getting their picks down. This is the moment in the game where it's going to be a domino effect. When one person falls, 2 people fall. So you have to be looking at this. Yeah, it's been slow, but now it's time to heat up. It's the 4-minute mark. It's time to really showcase what you guys can do. So far, the curve of this game has been, passive is the best word I'd say. And then, the way that passivity works is once somebody gets targeted, they get targeted by Together, who gets the Guardian and gets Wolfie there. So pretty dang clean.
Okay, I see you Together a little bit better on the 7 rather than the what did Together play in the first map? I can't quite remember.
Together played the Yamato.
The Yamato, right? Yeah. So a bit better there, but we're going to start seeing these teams. At least someone needs to reset. Surely, right? Hapex. He lingered on down for a bit too much and definitely got killed for it. Saf is going to be the second, and TAS is having a field trip right now in this map. He's having a great time on that Paradox.
Yeah, great time here, and already our Decky might be able to find a pick, but not going to land it. No Kobe this time, having to back it up and play pretty smart. We do have DMS just doing a decent job of trying to push back against this team. There is a 3K lead already for the hands of Skumbriya. It's the Paradox that they have to worry about. It's the Paradox that they have to start ganking. So we're starting some people rotating, but this could be a pick here. This Yamato, not Together this time, might be able to find a pick, but nah, it does not finish off the Mirage.
It doesn't. Could have gone in for them, right? Had the tether, had the rappel. I think it was just a bit out of range, however. Had the ultimate as well, if need be. DMS out here, surprised. I'm surprised that they don't seem to find a bit more to work with. Right, you've got the Viscous, you've got the Ivy, yet most of the fights actually being taken have been started up by Skumbriya. So this is a very interesting choice that they're having right now in their game plan. But it also might be because they're taking a little bit of back by the 7 as well. This is his 3rd kill already. Wolfie out of the fight. And the Infernus was one of the few people out here onto the DMS side that could have made the big difference here into the early game. Now, TAS is the only one. No, not even. No, TAS is on over to Skumbriya. Out here for DMS, the only one that can really make a change, I'd say, is the Warden. And oh my goodness, finally, this is a good engage coming through from the Abrams. However, that's going to be burning out utility for Skumbriya and nothing else because Zanya just died again.
Well, it was a good engage, but the follow-up immediately afterwards was a little lackluster there. I definitely expected a little bit more from the Lady Geist, but at the end of the day, we're still seeing this Kelvin not really do much ganking. We haven't, like, this is the character that would be roaming a lot, and I think they've been in their same lane against this Ivy the entire time. So I think that that's another misplay. Even though they're winning right now, just fundamentally, things are looking a little bit worse for wear. So let me ask you this. Do we feel like this is going to be a game where the early game decides things, or will the middle game be where this game really chooses a winner?
I don't know, I have this sneaking feeling that it's none of them are going to matter too much as the late game, really. I think the mid game right here is not even going to make that big of a difference. I think this is going to be one of those games where we're going all 35 minutes with like 150k souls each, and yet we don't necessarily have a winner, quote unquote, that we can crown. A nice chase out here though from the Great Talon. That's wonderful out here for Prestis. That was some great movement.
Yeah, and taking out Hardeki. Remember how strong Hardeki was in that first game early. So taking him out is pretty dang clean. But look at this. The Abrams just booking it, trying to do some damage. But now they've realized, uh-oh, they're inside of Grey Talon's house. And boom, the damage is unreal. Will we be able to see them now turn on this team for biting off more than they can chew, for getting a little bit too aggressive? Looks like they are going to do some chasing here. But honestly, I don't know if they can find any actual value until the CC comes through.
I don't know, we're gonna have to find out, because for now it's still DMS actually being the ones that have died more but still are racking up more souls. So it looks like the farming sequence is working, and Grey Talon, now being swapped on over, still is allowed to find the assist with the help of Play With Me to take down one more frag. And the Warden has been going a little bit under the radar. That guy is about to take off like a steam engine in around about a minute or so, because he's gonna reach that 10k souls mark first, and when he does so, we're gonna get to see a lot more fights out of him.
There we go. Let's see a lot more fights out of us. We're now gonna see them just running it in. And wait, why is the Abrams there?
Yes, 100%. Gotta do it, man. Yep.
Okay, well, again, we're seeing a lot of this Abrams just going into weird angles. Luckily for the side of Skumbriya, they're still going to be able to take out these points. They're going to be able to do a lot of damage and get objectives. Objective gaming-wise, they're up 2 Guardians right here. So as long as they keep taking their time, taking out these objectives, these lanes, making space for themselves, even if the Abrams feeds another 8 times, they should have enough space to make it worth it.
My question is, how does he get back into the game so quickly? I get it's pre-10 minutes and the timers aren't really that big, but I think he's already got
Abrams
3 deaths.
moves quick.
Yeah.
Abrams just moves really fast.
That's good for him, I guess. At the same time, maybe it's not, because he's getting in the face of these guys really, really quickly, and he's done it yet again. And right now, he's even running away from the fight. He's got his whole team behind him, and he's the first one to fall. It's again Play With Me on that Warden, reaching that 10k, and the Grey Talon above water right now, finding the damage too. Look at him just dish it out and go back. That's exactly why he picked into the Grey Talon, realizing that his team is going to be able to start off these engages and take away the space. He knows he's got all the time in the world to do whatever he likes. And speaking of all the time in the world, there was also all the time in the world to pick up that urn. So now the Yamato is going to have it, is going to hold it, and most likely will go uncontested to secure it.
Yeah, DMS definitely doing a great job here in game 2, even with the completely different type of play, the flex from their team composition. They're playing it well. They have great synergy with each other. They're punishing any misplay that comes their way. Now you look over at that that HP in the minimap. This Lady Geist is keeping herself pretty low to see if she can get an ultimate off and just, you know, pop a Terror Blade moment and completely shift this team back in their favor. But looking at this, it's the fight for the urn. It's time to shine.
It is Infernus going in first. It is going to be the engagement coming through from Kelvin as well. Into the wire to the back line. It's going to be the glacial engagement already coming on through. Looking on in for the Abrams. Can he find any damage to work with? The Ivy instead dealing the CC with the statue. Looking on in for the above ground. It's going to be also the Infernus, but the Great Talon always going down. Zania next up on the kill feed. It is going to be the again the Lady Geist looking on to try to stay on low HP. However, she's already used up ultimate. Solar already trying to be dropped on down, and DMS have already found it. It is going to be Ivy to fall, but still that's a worth death death to have already if they manage to secure the soul urn. So now it is going to be up to the Warden trying to stay up alive. The Yamato already falls down to low HP. Together is the one to keep it together, to save the day out here for Skumbriya. But how much longer can they go? Looking on in, Wolfie wants to find a bit of cleanup, but there's no one to do that on. So very well played from Skumbriya.
Yeah, incredibly well played cleanup there, thanks to the 7 on a 4K killing spree, leading the charge right now, tied with the Warden on the enemy team for souls, and just overall playing it quite well. And also remember, that was a pretty cheap fight for them. They didn't use too many ultimates. They saved the Paradox, they saved the Abrams, and they saved the 7. So next fight, they have those ready and rearing to try to take on this team. And you're going to need the 7 ult, especially against like a Warden, especially against an Ivy. So I like the fact that we're seeing them pace things properly. They're not investing too much. They're communicating right. And of course, we still need to see Zanya here try to catch up, as they are the the weakest in the souls department here. And I need to see if they can keep up that energy, bringing it back, because I think right now they are just being the bait. They are the end of the hook.
It's the decoy, right, coming on through. We'll get to see the Yamato also dealing the damage. You forget what you're fighting when you're going up against the ninja. Yamato with the heavy load comes on through and denies Litz any chance of a breath, as that's what the Abrams should do, right? Exactly what Yamato just did here, that's what Zanya needs to learn from, right? Because that was just the engage, had the team behind him, and this is not what you need to learn from, right? It's the Gooman taking you down with a fist from the ground. So easy frag being made there, momentum being seen, and well, Skumbriya, they had a chance back into the game, and they keep on having chances back into this game, and it looks like they just don't want to win.
Well, who's dead? You know who's dead.
Yeah, we'll see what happens here as well. The last stand being used up finally. Litz does manage to find one. At the very least, Ivy is going to be traded on out, and Litz using up that ultimate. Look at the HP value going on up and up and up. That is going to be that support coming on through big time there for Litz. The Kelvin stays alive, and it is going to be the tornado here ending things off for the Warden as well. Sunset ends it. Litz is a savior on that Kelvin, and this is Skumbriya once again here, Edu, back in the game.
Yeah, but look at the objective battle. You have the Viscous over in the bottom lane, just absolutely shredding through the util here. If they can just keep up that objective damage, they should be fine. Lady Geist trying to now stop it by going on in with some real DPS here, and that should be a free kill, especially with Lady Geist being the main DPS. So Saf biting off more than they could chew. After that fight ended is when they should have left.
Yeah, exactly. The Viscous overstayed his welcome, lost his life for it, and now the advantage on the souls still stands strong out here on the Amber side. Looks like middle is going to be checked, but no one there. And DMS, what's their next best plan of attack out here, Edu? What should they do to keep things
honestly,
in contention?
I think their next best plan is to group up, start going for more objective play, and just win a team fight. You know, they're getting staggered out. The Viscous just died alone. They know that they can win these team fights if they play together and if they have these ultimates up, which they do. They have 5 ults by the time the fight's going to start. Actually, nope, 6 ults by the time the fight starts. So they have everything that they need to win a team fight. They just also have to maybe group as 4 or 5 and grab a Litz. You take out this Kelvin, you're going to be guaranteeing any fight.
Okay, so let's see if this is going to be an Overwatch moment where you have 6 ultimates, you win a fight. But right now, don't necessarily think that's going to be the case. Checking with the Owl for the urn is actually not half bad out here from the Great Talon. Managing to scout out ahead before you know what you're getting into is going to be huge, as Stas is already trying to run away. This is going to be a complete overlap of judgment coming through from Skumbriya, as DMS completely overtake on the urn. Will be able to pick it up and take down the Guardian. So this is big advancements being made out here by DMS. However, with Ivy on the soul urn, with that movement coming on through, look at the side lanes. Already the Walker is going to fall to Hardeki and Sunset, so they're doing a great job taking a look on down to the map, realizing what's happening and running away with it. Saf as well doesn't really fully want to engage here without the Infernus, so now he's going on in trying to defend up against the altar, and yet still Ivy is going to get it down. That's going to be getting DMS back in the game.
Yeah, now we should, after all of these souls get just pocketed, be back to a tied setup here. 91k to 90k, very close game here, but it's the change from Sunset, the player you're really looking at, able to save the Paradox, kill off Play With Me, and win it out. But now Litz is gone. They've lost their player, but Yamato is looking lost. Luckily, he's able to 180 and kill the player. That is the cleanup that this team desperately needed. The Paradox is back in spawn to heal, and now it's Walkers being destroyed. Everything's looking clean. Another player being taken out, probably going to be a dead Abrams if they can just find the final pick. But wait, where'd the Abrams go? They're lost. Yep. Abrams just juked them.
Well, juked them or managed to outrun them for now. This is exactly what you want to see out of Zania, right? Stay alive, manage to find a little bit of space out, and just overall try to get an advantage for the team if you're going to be playing as the decoy here. Shadow transformation though coming through from the Yamato a bit early, I'd say. Was that a misclick?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah. And they lost the objective because of it. Yeah.
Yeah, that allows for now some Skumbriya to just come on in and take this out. Now they're going to have to...
Imagine you had a Yamato. Yeah, imagine
Here we go.
Yeah,
imagine if they had what they needed. Imagine if they didn't Fat Finger an ultimate. They do have a Viscous going in, but look at how many ults are being used here. Together's going to get taken out. Now it's the high ground. Saf is gone, but it's still a winnable fight. The Yamato doesn't need an ultimate to get the kills. You have the pocket. You have the Paradox chasing, but they get the kill anyways. So thanks to Hardeki, thanks to Sunset, and thanks to this, it's another player to fall. A big team fight loss. They don't even get the reju. It was all for nothing. They came in late, and they got absolutely sniped.
Yeah, this is already a team wipe coming through here. Skumbriya absolutely decimated, and the main man behind that was the 7 as well as Kelvin. I'd say those two guys absolutely decimated. Sunset brought the damage alongside Paradox, but now you should just be able to get into the Patron, right? There's not too much to do. The Viscous is back online, and there should be the Ivy as well alongside the Yamato, so perhaps they won't necessarily get to take down the actual Patron himself, but just the shrines. And yet still that's huge enough to win the game.
There we go. Huge enough to win it. This could be a 1-1 score line for this team to turn it around. But looking at this, they're now flying in. The final shot to stay alive, to keep this team back. It's a fight now. The Guardians are down, but oh, wait a minute. So is Wolfie. Here we go. More damage, more damage. Everybody's low. It's the Viscous popping an ultimate to try to stun these players outright, but then Kelvin's too big. The Warden's gone. It's Sunset getting the kills again and again. Psycho online with a Yamato, but is it going to be enough? 2 players fall for both teams, but can we see more of Saf just stunning, keeping the CC online, but too late, too bad. They're dead, and it's just the Yamato.
It's over. It's
Teams
out.
Are giving us the R's. It's ready to get back in the game.
There's nothing to do here. The Patron's gonna go out. It's not like the cooldown to swap to the weakened state is that long, so they are gonna be going towards the Yamato, at least buying up the time here, but that's only going to be Lady Geist out here managing to absolutely decimate Psycho. And that's it. It's done. It's over. And we go to our first map 3 of the day out here, Edu.
1-7.
That's definitely a Reinhardt scoreline if you want to take a look on down to, you know, Overwatch. But, yeah, definitely not the most impactful, let's say. Not in the nice way. Not in the good way out here for the victorious side. However, if you win at the end of the day, hey, towards the team fights there at the end is definitely something that's going to raise a question mark over my head, and it's going to make me think, okay, well, what happens now? It was on the interesting comp that we had on map number 1, an easy win for DMS. What does this mean now that it was equal kind of out here for Skumbriya? And Skumbriya bans away the Abrams, I think, for their own player.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I think that with that ban, it's literally just to say, hey, we're not going to be doing that again. I think they've learned their lesson. But the question is, what is this player going to play? If they can't play Abrams, who is recommended in the tutorial as one of the easiest characters, well, what's going to happen next? So seeing the Mirage pick, seeing the Paradox pick, DMS is also swinging out with some heavy DPS as well. I like this. The Mirage... I think it's going to be fun. Mirage, Wraith, Yamato, Viscous. Honestly, Viscous was very important in that last game. Yeah. Didn't get as much value as some other Viscuses that I saw, but their ultimates were a real wrench in the fight. And even with the Kelvin, DMS is loaded right now, and we know exactly who's going to be on it.
Yeah, but I still feel like we need a bit more of a CC out here for the DMS side. I would love to see a Lash at this point, especially with that Kelvin. With the Viscous, I think it would work out brilliantly. As well here for the side of Skumbriya, they need a little bit more objective damage coming on through. It's going to be the Paradox and Mirage doing the most of it. The Warden is also there, sure. But now it is the 7 being picked up for DMS. 7 is usually a pick that you leave out for last. So I wonder what the idea here for DMS is, now that they have a very weak Chandelier ready to be guided upon. The Ivy gets picked on here for Skumbriya as a support player, and now I just wonder, instead of what?
This is the sniper player, the Gray Talon, now locking in Vindicta.
Okay.
That's why we're seeing it. So honestly, it makes sense.
Somebody off guard. If you don't manage to use up that Paradox swap with the Vindicta, I don't think it's gonna work on anybody else.
True. Absolutely. I will say you can also intro with the Warden. We've seen that a few times in these games today. So let's just see who's actually going to be locking it in, getting these shots, getting these picks, as DMS is going to be starting off on a decent split off here. You do have Mirage and Geist, so heavy damage against this team.
Ooh, yeah, but apparently this is going to be the heavy damage also being traded on back. Vindicta sending away a world of hurt out here and trying to get a little bit of creep score going on through early in the game. And we're off to the races once more out here, Redu. It's going to be the last map of this best of 3 to decide who goes to the grand finals out here for the Sinner's Sacrifice tournament. As remember, all of these players are also trying to play individually. There's the scouts looking on forward to them, and I think we've already found ourselves the first frag. Almost the Paradox manages to take down the Viscous. However, still left alive on by a thread. He's going to be going back to base, and that could have been first blood.
It could have been. Luckily, it is going to be Viscous who stays alive, and that's something that Skumbriya is going to be a little bit upset about. They invested a lot of their life into trying for that, and now you're going to be seeing a chance at recovery here, especially now with the Kelvin doing some damage. You do have lots of just chip damage over in this double DPS heavy lane with the Vindicta, with the Geist facing off against these two. So yeah, I can't wait to see how this game is actually going to play out, as the poke is real, and you look at these HPs and they're getting lower and lower, and the second one falls, the domino will start.
Viscous is still low on HP though, and right now I'm surprised that it's the Vindicta allowed to push up the furthest to actually find a lot of this creep score to be allowed to take down these fights. She is squishy, yes, but it's also a thing about respect. They've realized how well that Great Talon played in the last couple of maps, and you got to see all the snipes that he had. It's clear that the Mirage is respecting this Vindicta to a certain degree, right? So it's going to be a very interesting lane when it comes down later to it. What I'm really looking forward to is that Kelvin, right? Because so far in the past 2 maps that we've seen at this best of 3, the one character that should have actually found these ganks usually didn't. It's the Kelvin staying on the lane, so I want to see that changed.
Yeah, I want to see it change too. This is going to be very interesting to see how this team absolutely cooks. And there's the first blood, and it's the Paradox to get it too. Saf was critical in winning out the game for him, and now they might find another. The slow is perfect. The AoE damage is conking through, and that is a dead Kelvin. I don't see him getting out of here at all. Double kill in the first blood. That is just honestly clean. Triple. And Hardeki does it too. Oh, the Skumbriya, they do not want to be losing this again.
I was expecting it out of the Vindicta to fall down early, right? That's usually what happens when you're a glass cannon. But the other two, that push coming through out there was just brilliant, really, out here for DMS. Well, for Skumbriya. And they have the advantage. They're going to be holding down to that advantage for quite a little bit out here into the early game for a couple of good minutes at the very least. And that's going to go a long way. Look at the side lanes, right? They're being pushed completely right now. And not only are they going to get the first blood, I think they're also going to get the first Guardian here.
Yeah, first Guardian. This is good. This is just an insane amount of lead early. 2K, 4 minutes in. Honestly, I've seen bigger gaps, but the thing is, we're seeing even more as the kill might be coming in. And no, the trade-off. Oh my God. Oh, the card thrower absolutely cooking. This is so dang clean. Skumbriya is doing exactly what they need to just take a lead and keep it. Now, hopefully we can see DMS keep up those kind of kills as well, trying to bounce this back as they're now tied again, dropping that gap thanks to the pick. But let me ask you this, Atro. Do you think that they are going to be able to, you know, bounce it back? Is this going to be another close game? Are we looking at a 30-minute game?
It's looking very likely. Now, I don't know really, because you need to see who these kills are actually going on over to, who is going to be taking up that big carry role. And for the side of DMS, it's looking like it's going to be Play With Me once more on the Wraith. For the other side, though, maybe that's going to be changing up a little bit. Let's just wait to see how this team fight's actually going to be playing on out, as Vindicta as well, down to 100 HP once more, is just a punch away from doom and demise. As for Skumbriya, everyone is kind of even, right? Everybody's got that scoreline to really play together, so I feel like having just 1 or 2 hyper carries out here is going to be better for DMS, as they'll be able to actually clean up house a little bit easier. And this is where the Vindicta comes in clutch, able to snap away at Hardeki, shoots him down the Lady Geist. It is going to be a kill that hopefully we're going to get to see much more out of.
Yeah, absolutely beautiful. And talking about beautiful kills, it's going to be Wolfie going down, but Saf with a great trade up here might be able to grab a few more of these picks, but I think his main goal is just to get out of dodge right now. Great little back and forth between these two teams in the early game. It's a whole lot of play-by-play. It's a whole lot of poke, and now we are approaching 6 minutes into the game. This is where you're going to start seeing more of these players start ganking, start splitting up and just jumping down onto these lanes.
Okay, here's the first one. It's again the Glacial Imprisonment coming on through once more on over to the Paradox. Actually got away without taking too much damage too, so that's great. That's the power of the Ivy being found out here really, really quickly. So that will be just a drop back around and a safe call being made. This is the importance of having a really impactful support player as well here for Skumbriya, is the fact that they can be a little bit more aggressive, try to get into those angles, and if they're going to get ganked in a 2v1, well, there's always someone to bail them out, right? The Viscous was picked away out here for DMS's side, but I think the Ivy's doing just enough of a great job too. And speaking of the Viscous, he's falling down to low HP, but maybe it doesn't matter because here comes in the damage from that Vindicta, looking to try to be the savior, looking on him for the Ivy as well, finds it too, and Prestis is looking to try to sway up the game here.
Wow, just an insane play. These guys know what they're doing. They're playing it so smart. And now I'm looking over at DMS. I'm looking over at their lead. And of course, Skumbriya wanting to try to fight them back. This could be the opportune moment for them, as I'm looking at a lot of ganking starting to flow. They've moved around, but wait a minute. Where's the Viscous? He's popping ultimate to try to get out of a corner here. And he does. He succeeds in getting away with 1 HP, but it does cost him his ult. And it's going to cost the Amber Guardian another big objective. The first Guardian falls.
And that's what I was talking about out here, right? Skumbriya, they managed to always keep up the lane's push, so they will be able to get the first Guardian underway, and now possibly even the second out here in the middle of the lane. It looks like it's going to be stolen from right under their noses, but still a fight breaking out, and the Ivy once more saving and peeling away on the day. Great check out here from our observer, but yeah, it's the second time this has happened, and it's not going to be the last either.
Yeah, just so dang smart from this team. I like what we're seeing from the Skumbriya side. I like what we're seeing from Together, especially getting that push down, taking out the purple Guardian. So the main strategy now for this two teams is, okay, Ern's going to start spawning here in about 2 minutes. We do know that we could start, picking those up. Right now, they still have the Kelvin, who's kind of far behind on farm because he's focusing on, just a little bit of the roam, a little bit of the kills that have been happening. If we start seeing the Kelvin start succeeding in these ganks, he could start getting the gap back and maybe correcting it for DMS's sake. So overall, I like the way that this game's being played. I'm hopeful that these DPS characters like the Paradox, like the Infernus, can also start finding a few more of their kills for Skumbriya.
Well, we shall wait and see. For now, actually, the ex-Abrams player is out here on Mirage, right? Zania is now playing the Mirage, and he's been around the map a little bit, right? He's been helping out Lady Geist here and there, but so far, we've seen a very stable front out here from Skumbriya overall, now that they've decided to go for a bit more of a passive play. Right, not necessarily taking up those fights time and time again, but the moment I say that, look on the minimap, there's 4 of them getting ready to try to take down this Mirage that's a little bit out of position. But maybe that's not going to happen quite yet.
Yeah, it might not happen quite yet, but what I will say is just some...
Oh! Maybe you will. Maybe you will. It's fast enough. Mirage falls down to half.
Oh, the Vindicta sniping him.
Can't find him. He's in the building. There you go.
There we go.
Close.
Close.
But no cigar.
But no cigar. I'm looking over right now. 47k, 47k. This has probably been 10 minutes in, not a gap between these two teams right now. So this is neck and neck for probably the longest amount of time we've seen today.
It's not necessarily neck and neck. I feel like there was definitely the advantage in here for one side or the other. Now they just brought it back around to make it even. And that Solar doesn't necessarily have that many souls in it, but it's still going to be a nice addition to have, as the Warden is just trying to run away out here. He's going to fall down to low, but maybe still gets the kill. No, waited it down just in time. Yamato is going to steal that one away. And I think the Soul Urn should be easily going in to be found at the altar, as DMS now should be taking away the advantage.
True. I will shout out here. The fact is, objective gameplay-wise, DMS is really staggering right now. Skumbriya might not have the most amount of souls, but look at that. They have 3 of the enemy Guardians defeated. That's something that really does matter. They're getting so much space. They're trading their lives and their value early in this game for these objectives. In case in point, objective-wise, it's going to be the Soul Urn getting pocketed by the Kelvin. It's what it's supposed to do.
And that's exactly what he does. And with that being said as well, the Yamato is right there behind him if need be. But right now, that need hasn't necessarily been found too many times. I mean, out of the 11 minutes we've already played, I feel like we've seen way more 2v2s or 1v1s out here into this map, rather than an all-out brawl and an actual team fight being attempted out here by neither of these two sides. And they've got the characters for the team fight, so I'm very surprised that what we're seeing right now is a way more passive approach from characters like the Viscous, like the Kelvin, you know, like the Ivy. No one is really going out there. They're just waiting to be found out by this Vindicta.
Yeah. So far, so good. I mean, overall, great plays. I'm hopeful that DMS is going to be able to, you know, keep up their lead soul-wise, but they have to start getting these objectives. They've lost every single Guardian to nothing. Luckily, we're going to see them start with a kill. Now, what do you do after you get a kill? You start pushing towers. I need to start seeing these Guardians fall, but instead, it's not happening. They're not focused up quite yet, but this is why we have them finally grabbing one with the Yamato. Is scared away. The Guardian is destroyed. Thank God we got the Viscous to finish off the job, but will the Viscous get out of here with an ultimate? Oh my God, the Warden.
So. Yeah, it's the Warden already tying him down to the lock, handcuffing him away and putting him in prison, as that is going to be the kill made. And now Skumbriya, they have to start getting worried about a possible mid-take of that Rejuvenator, right? It is possible, it's very risky, and it would be extremely risky for DMS to actually go for it, but they do have to think about it. So you'll see them getting back to lanes, you'll see them try to reset, and that 5k soul lead, while it might not be much in the grand scheme of things, it can truly mean a lot right now, especially when it comes down to these duels, right? Because more and more duels are still being found out in the lanes, and we're getting to see the, well, big implications of that. Sure, if you have a lane with a Kelvin, if you have a lane with an Ivy, the supporting role there is there to heal as well, so you don't really have to worry about the poke. But if you're on the off lanes, right, if you're the Yamato, if you're the Viscous out here, it's scary for DMS to really push by themselves, so they have to bundle up together and at least try to take out a couple of these Guardians, which they are managing to do.
Yeah, they're managing pretty dang well. They're playing it smart. They're honestly, what I'm looking at now is just they're managed to get back in the game objective-wise while they were now on top of it in every other way. So this could be a chance for them to start taking walkers. And look at this Vindicta looking like a little low and getting out of there. almost gets taken down. People might try to dive here to kill him, and no, the bleed. It's just a bleed. It's not going to actually be lethal bleed. It's unfortunate, but they weren't getting shot at. They were just taking the damage over time from the Mirage and all of those guys.
Yeah, now imagine you had a pocket instead of the Mirage here, right? How insane would that have been? But speaking of the Mirage, stuck in a corner, Gooball, ooh, does get to help him out because the Paradox was still there to trade. And now, because of that, the Wraith wants to go in for a kill. Doesn't have the ultimate anymore. 20 seconds until that happens, but Zanya's still out of the fight. Mirage falls down and up into the team fight we go. Saf is doing so much right now on that Vindictus, as he manages to not only engage on the fight, but also move around and allow for the 2 kills initially to get made. So now, mid taken, is there gonna be a steal? Does anybody even have the chance to go for it? No.
Honestly, I don't think nobody's going to be stealing this. There's not an Ivy. That's close enough. that's the big thing. So yeah, DMS is going to be taking the lead. They just got 3 kills. Looking pretty flawless in this early. Well, looking pretty flawless at 15 minutes. I would say this is the halfway mark. This is where we're now in the middle game. This is where we're going to be seeing them really just, you know, focus up on the side objectives. The urn slowly descends. It's going to be another capped urn here as long as they give it to the Kelvin, but they're not giving it to Kelvin. Yamato is going to be the one to carry it, which is a questionable decision.
I don't know. Right now, especially knowing that they've just found 3 kills, perhaps they think it's going to be a complete altar fight that they're going to have to go for, so they'd rather have the Kelvin use up the ulti as soon as possible, get as many of them down as possible. But no, that's not even the case. Skumbriya are not even going to contest the urn. I mean, does it make sense, right? The Rejuvenator is up out here for DMS. They know that the urn has just been picked up right as it spawns, so it doesn't really have that much to be changing, and you're taking out a couple of fights as well on the other side of the map. Oh, it's gonna be a dead Zanya once more out here. The Mirage surely stuck in a corner, but instead Play With Me is the first one to fall. Staff, a lot of actual stuns going on through here from the Gooball, and he does manage to get out, but the kills will still be smelt.
Yeah, but the Walker, the space created for the Walker here, it was worth the cost of 1 Wraith, and another one falls. God, they are just absolutely bullying the map right now, taking all of this space. Another 2 Walkers falling for the price of 1 rejuvenated Wraith. Not the best deal, not gonna lie, but it's all right. We're looking at about a 15,000 gold, or sorry, 15,000 soul difference here as they are now getting themselves ready for the next fight while they still have the Rejuvenator. It doesn't have much time, and here comes that fight.
Here it comes, indeed. It is going to be Zanya once again, the first man to fall. Really not been having a good best of 3 at all here for the side of Skumbriya. And because of that, well, they're forced into the basically 4v3, which they're not going to be really taking right now because they know they'd lose. So DMS, they're having a very nice time overall when it comes down to just being able to find these one-off picks, and those one-off picks have been going a long way, not only in the objective department, but also in the individual department. 108k souls over 91k. I definitely say that difference is going to sting.
Yeah, it's going to sting a bit here. We're looking at some really solid plays. DMS, I know that they have what it takes to really showcase themselves here and pretty much wrap up this game, but there's no more Rejuvenator. They've already done enough of their job with it. They pushed out, got a bunch of space, but now the real question is, do they go and wait for the next rejuve? Do they wait for the next mid boss, or do they try to just do chip damage and just poke at these lanes instead of farm? That's the real question. At this point, we're going to be looking at the lull of things until probably the 20-minute mark as we wait for that respawn to happen.
I mean, I'm pretty sure DMS also realized the plan here, right? So especially since they still had rejuve, they might have wanted to come back up together and try to go for a team fight, but right as I say that, rejuve, no more found. So yeah, perhaps they will just be waiting down the timer and hoping for another objective 1-out fight, and until then, just farming on up, right? Because for both of these teams, farming is definitely going to be going a long way. For the Wraith, for the Vindicta, for the Yamato out here for DMS, and for Skumbriya, you definitely need to get a couple more souls on that Paradox because he's not looking that healthy, and neither is the Mirage.
Yeah, it's a little bit unfortunate there, but at the end of the day, what we are looking at is a lot more space being taken by the blue side. They're doing a decent job on the Sapphire side. Skumbriya, they need to start grouping and trying to get picks. If they can manage to just snipe this Viscous alone like they did with the Warden that first time, if they can keep that up, they'll be fine in these team fights, because that Viscous has been saving people and becoming a big distraction. But look at him, he's also the initiation.
Oh yeah, he's starting things off, but he messed away the fight and he messed away the fist as well. But the second one does connect. However, Warden out of harm's way will stay back up and alive. And still with 20k souls up, it looks like DMS will continue to try to initiate these fights because they're allowed to, right? They don't have anything to lose at this point in time. They just need to make a difference. They need to make a change up in the ranks out here for Skumbriya. Otherwise, DMS will just start gathering on up and... No, not DMS. Skumbriya will start gathering on up and suddenly you find yourself in a disadvantageous fight if you try to take any team fights.
True. That is definitely fair. We're looking at not the best angle here for DMS to keep getting these kind of picks up. Honestly, that last jump by the Viscous, I felt like they could have gotten the kill, but it just got a little fumbled there. I am looking, though, at the Lady Geist, who's staying extra low, waiting for someone to try to jump them and using that ult properly, but... They have their team all grouped up. The bait is being very surreal, but here comes a fight breaking off on the others. We're seeing a ping on the Warden. They're going to try to jump, and that's where 4 players are going to be ready and rearing. It's all about the soul. It's all about the urn. Will we actually see a fight break out in the favor of Skumbriya? Because they need it.
We'll see a fight break out for sure, but I don't know who's going to be in favor of because the Gooble's already there. The urn actually stolen away by the Yamato instead of the Kelvin once more. But who dies again first? It's Zanya, and Skumbriya are really not having a good time because of that, because they would just love to take down these 6v6s, but they just can't. They don't have the damage for it, they don't have the setup, and that's, again, another urn that just goes the way of DMS because of poor positioning.
So unfortunate for DMS. I mean, they definitely had that game, but it just didn't work out this time. But now we're looking at this. It's going to be the opening here for Skumbriya. Sorry, Skumbriya, a little bit disappointing there.
Yeah.
DMS is just going to be able to completely bully the objectives afterwards. They get the urn, they get the points. I don't know. If you're looking at Zanya, this is a player that has really not showed up today. And I know that I've been kind of beating on him like a dead horse, but they have to really pop off if they're going to be the one locking in the Mirage, as Mirage is such a high value character right now.
Yeah, I mean, again, we were talking in the first best of 3, right, about Lex 1 being able to pop off onto it, and now we're not getting to see anything close to that nature. As the Vindicta's looking in to try to start up the fight, it is going to be the Ghoul also trying to help out as much as he can, but wanting to get away. The Vindicta is still going to be there, and the Ivy wants to drop down back with the statue, and he is indeed going to do exactly that, but he doesn't get that much damage in, as no one actually falls there besides the Mirage. And now Hardeki too. And possibly even the Paradox and the Ivy as well, if Vindicta manages to see them. Yeah, this is overall not going the way that Skumbriya were imagining. Definitely not with those quick peeks coming through from the Vindicta.
It's absolutely a bully.
10
we got
HP.
4 players dead. Vindicta just bleeding out slowly, but no one's really going to get close enough to actually finish him off. But at the end of the day, DMS walks away with 4 kills for 1 thanks to the save, and that opens up the mid-boss. So, yeah, they waited for the 20-minute mark. They waited to try to get the mid-boss back. They're going to just take it here. And where's the blue team? Where's Sapphire? Where's Skumbriya? The answer is back at spawn, as the mid-boss is going to get completely capped here. And overall, it is a big, hefty lead by DMS. And Skumbriya, I was a little bit shocked here by the change in pace from game 2 to game 3. Game 1, I could understand it, but game 2 to game 3, it's a completely different team.
Yeah, and that's what makes me go a little, huh? Why is this happening? What happened? Right? Because I just can't help but feel like there's a little bit of animosity right out here for Skumbriya's side, a little bit of a miscommunication where there wasn't that at the beginning of the game, and now there definitely is. Also, another fact is Litz was such a powerful and impactful player in the first 2 maps out here for Skumbriya. This third game, I feel like he's just fallen a little bit. I've talked about his Ivy a little bit. He did save a couple of his teammates, but besides that, he hasn't really been able to do enough to justify going for the Ivy over something like a Kelvin or a Viscous.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. I think that this is not an ideal game relative to what we're used to. And honestly, DMS, though, they're showing up. This is a rematch. This is a vengeance play, being able to turn this around. So with pretty much nothing but the base bosses remaining, we just have to see who wins on time now. Of course, a 50,000 soul deficit with an inability to win a single team fight. It really does come down to how much time is remaining in the match, not who's going to be winning it. And I know that sounds very bold, but if Skumbriya wants to win this, they need their Mirage to have 6,000 more souls to catch up to their own team. And that's not even including the Vindicta, who's at over... What is that? 15,000 more souls than this Mirage?
Yeah, I mean, it's not a tough thing to say either way, because you take a look at the individuals and you say, yeah, that is a huge soul deficit coming throughout here for the Paradox as well, not only for the Mirage. We've been talking about Zanya time and time again, and we've been beating him up, but where is Taz this entire of the game, right? Sure, map number 1, map number 2, he was looking good, but now nowhere to be seen. Sunset and Hardeki still the only two that are keeping it consistent, while together had a quote-unquote good map, and he's the only one, right? So when you're down, when your entire team is down 50k souls, it takes a miracle to come back into the game.
It takes a throw, and DMS is not willing to throw it this late into a tournament. It also takes Prestis to not be 9-1. This Vindicta pick, you know, we talked about the snipers. You needed a sniper that really pops off. It feels like this might be the meta coming up, especially from EU side. The Counter-Strike players moving over. Every Counter-Strike team needs their Opper, and every Deadlock team needs their sniper. So it might be the next meta coming out. Hopefully we're going to see more from Prestis here, as this guy is really showcasing what these characters, these slept-on characters, can offer.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I was definitely not expecting to see snipers today at all, not even in Grand Final. But the fact that we have Prestis here as a potential candidate for the Grand Finals gets me very excited to see how he's going to fare up against Metal Skill if they get there. So I'm looking forward to it. I don't know. I really am.
Oh, I am feeling the exact same way. This seems like a difference in game. DMS... they're definitely playing their hearts out. They know that this is, of course, the semifinals. This isn't the grands. They have a tough fight awaiting them. That mixed international team that's coming out in the grands there, it's going to be a little bit tough against Metal Skill. So knowing that they're putting their heart and soul into this game, it's also longer fought. This is a full 3 best of 3 situation. So they're going to go into that grand finals a little bit more fatigued than Metal Skill, who's been able to just sit in Twitch chat, watch the gameplay, and see exactly the type of style that the enemy team is going to be putting on. So they're doing their research right now. Metal Skill is at a huge advantage here.
They are indeed. Now, they're just waiting for a fight, and they're thinking mid is being taken. Look at how much time they're wasting here. While everybody else out here for DMS are just... oh? Maybe this is not wasting time. Maybe this is actually just repositioning. I love this little tech coming on through for Skumbriya. This is a change-up that I want to see. There we go. This is a nice setup, because they can either go in towards the mid Rejuvenator and try to take it down when it spawns, or try to bait in an actual fight. And you only see a Lady Geist, you only see an Infernus. You think, okay, there's like 4 of us. We can go in, and then boom, everybody on top of their heads. So it would be an interesting choice to make. However, you have to remember there's a Vindicta on the other team, and that's not going to be always that easy to try to set up.
Yeah, there's a max item Vindicta on the enemy team. Like,
yeah.
It's so insane to me that this Vindicta has just so much farm. But you know what's funny here? Vindicta has a lot of farm because they're getting kills. 7 has a lot of farm because they're just destroying every lane right now. Because 7's at 43,000 right now.
Oh my goodness, yeah, you're right. Holy...
yeah, like we could shout out the 9-1 player, but let's shout out the 7, who is just like every single lane's getting instantly pushed out, and if they do get into a fight, it's just going to be GG's here.
That's one angry chandelier. Oh my goodness. Okay. Well, when is that team fight going to happen? Because I see myself just, oh, is it gonna start? I think it's gonna start. They're gonna see each other right in here and now, and they're getting set up for it. The Ivy's gonna be seen first. The Wraith actually goes in for the fight, but it is actually going to be first up the Lady Geist trying to peek on in. Litz indeed is going to be the first one to fall. Lady Geist out of the fight too. And what are these fights being taken by Skumbriya? One by one, they all fall. And the damage is just too much to deal with. It's over. It's done and out for the count out here, Edu.
Wait.
And I think we're going to get to see a Rejuvenator and a game wind.
We just watched the Vindicta get a flick headshot with their ultimate and take the Warden down a half of a pixel of HP.
Yep.
Like, that was an insane shot. Wow. And that's going to scare them away. Free mid-boss here. We do see that they are going to just maybe try to fight for it immediately afterwards, but they got to run back to base. There's no reason why you guys should be sticking around. It's a 4v6. Get out of there. So, blue team, Sapphire team, Skumbriya needs to start running ASAP.
Man, I would be running too if I were them, but then I also would just get demoralized looking at the soul difference. 63k? That's getting closer to a 100k deficit than it is to 0. And that's a sad map to be in. That's a sad game to be in, you know.
They have the opportunities here. They could definitely turn this game back. I will hand it to them. Skumbriya has one thing that I'm definitely going to be looking at, and it is going to be that Mirage and, of course, the Warden. Also, shout out to this Infernus for trying to keep up with the money-wise. Doing a decent job. Locking things down, but at the end of the day, we could talk stats, we could talk about what they got. It's about the plays. The positioning from this Infernus has been clean. The rest of his team, pretty dirty. Not exactly the best. I need to see what they can do to really just pick up the pace. As if Rejuvenator push is coming in, every lane is now ready to just get geared, and once every lane's pushed up, they'll be fine. I think they're just gonna end it off with the urn, and they're gonna just walk onto the point.
Oh, everybody's on full items though, almost everybody, right? And I love the fact that our production is showing us all of this because it's definitely much needed to be seen. If Viscous had a little bit more tankiness to him as well, I'd say this is definitely just one team fight away from ending. And I still do believe that's the case, actually, because you take a look on down to the minimap right now, it's going to be basically a 3v3 coming on down to both sides of this base push. And funnily enough, the more DMS delay here, the better off things will be for Skumbriya because they've kind of hit their ceiling. At this point, there's not really too much else to buy. You just need to take these guys down. So the more you're letting Skumbriya catch up here and farm creeps, the easier it's going to get for the Sapphire side. But maybe I spoke too soon because that's everything falling by the wayside immediately. And that's all of Skumbriya right now falling back towards spawn because there's just nothing to do. Litz first one down, Mirage up next, surely. The 7 is dealing the damage. And yes, that is the Mirage falling. That's going to be the Patron as well spotted on down. And what can you do if you're Skumbriya right now? Besides FF on 31 minutes.
Yeah, this is it. This is just the game. The base boss, the Patron's transforming, and unfortunately, I don't think it's going to transform into something that it could survive with, as there's nothing really here. Oh, wait.
10 kill
Paradox.
streak.
Oh, yeah, it's the Vindicta. 10 and 1, by the way. It's over. It's over here. We're just going to watch as everything gets shot down, broken apart, in the game.
Overall, what a performance out here from the Amber side, from DMS in general, right? Sure, it was actually Skumbriya winning out on their Amber side as well, so I guess whoever's Amber manages to win out in this best of 3, but that was well played from everybody. Everybody